In this video, we're going to be looking at how you choose a proper team as well as appropriate camera equipment for our commercial project. This is the third video in the series where we're doing a deep dive into our process, and this was for a commercial that we did for a fashion brand called Lense. Everything will be linked in the description. Here at Tenfold, there are 4 of us, and our roles changed on a project-to-project basis. In this project specifically, Jason was our director, Justin the assistant director, Adrian the first AC, and I was the DOP. To me, these were major roles that we needed to fill at a top level to make this project work. I knew we could pull people we work with all the time to fill other key roles. Now, this is very subjective and varies crew to crew, but under a DOP and director, the first key roles that we need to fill are a strong first AC as well as a first AD. Because this was a fast-paced project, and projects like this, we need to keep a schedule as well as we need to be nailing every shot when it comes to setup time and focus. Crew size can be dependent on a multiple of factors. For us, this was a very light and fast-paced production over 2 days, so we needed to keep the crew pretty tight. And that being said, the roles that I had to fill in terms of production side were a gaffer, key grip, and a set of PAs to speed up the process of production, whether that be moving things or transportation. Now, the next thing that we're going to look at is the camera and lighting package and everything that goes along with that, so grip and support. A recurring topic is the constraints of the project, which is mainly budget. So we are heavily relying on our personal inventory of equipment. For our main camera, we chose the red Komodo, as is the camera that we own and will give us the most flexibility in post in terms of information for color as well as resolution for resizing for exports. Now, a big factor in this project that we needed to move fast, so multiple camera configurations were needed. In any scenario that we have to move quickly, our ideal setup is using 2 cameras. One camera for sticks, dolly, and handheld, and the other is used for gimbal only. This allows us to switch between setups very quickly, and this means that there's no downtime between shots, which speeds up the flow of production heavily. Now, I know this is going to be a little bit overwhelming, but we use 4 cameras for this shoot, and we own all these 4 cameras, and that's why we use them. The other 2 cameras were used for the transition points, which I'm going to be talking about in the cinematography breakdown. The other cameras we used were the Sony FX3 as well as the FX6. As a DOP, I would have loved to shoot this whole project on red, but I knew the limitations of the production. With that information, I knew that these cameras would be used for transition points. That means you would only see these shots for maybe a second or 2, and I knew that the colorists we were working with would match these in post pretty well. Now that the camera bodies are established, we're going to be looking at the lenses that we're going to be using. When it comes to choosing lenses, I always stay with cinema glass, as it gives us the look that we're going for. I generally like to use a lot of primes in my work, but for this we wanted a lot of in-camera zooms, so a cinema zoom was rented. Cinema zoom. Zip zip zap zip zip zoop zip it. A cinema zoom. For the gimbal as well as the specialty shots, we used our in-house lenses, which were the DZO Vespid primes. Generally, we love to rent lenses when we can, but again, we were constrained by budget, so this is what we went with. Now, the other side of it, we're going to be looking at our lighting package. I only really had to make one lighting diagram for this project, as there was only one interior location, and the rest I knew that we could just have a floppy or neg on standby for negative fill. I considered our widest shot of the piece to be hardest to light because I knew that we need a set of tubes, some sort of large key light with a frame to shoot through, as well as a hair light to separate the talent. And this just goes back to utilizing the resources we have, and we also own all those lights, so it was really easy to pull this off. And further discussing with Jason, the director, there was a light aesthetic that we wanted to hit in terms of these slow shutter shots, which is this Leica light aesthetic, which is achieved using a projector or some sort of light modifier. So this is something that we added to our package as well. And this just goes to show that this is an ongoing process in terms of developing your camera and lighting package. You might start off with an initial camera and lighting package and add things as you go, or it might be completely different by the end of the project in terms of how you executed it. You just have to keep having an open line of communication and these conversations. Now, I'm not just going to say that we only brought these lights, we brought additional lights just in case we ran into any problems, as well as all the grip that we needed to pull this off. And I knew this purely because of the location scout. Had I not taken pictures of the space, I wouldn't have figured out how to rig all the lights overhead and what additional lights I had to bring. There are other pre-production topics that we could dive into at this point, but we wanted to show the topics that we get asked about the most. In the next video, I'm specifically going to be looking at the cinematography as well as do some lighting breakdowns in terms of how we executed this project. As always, thanks for watching, subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next video.